Hey everyone, it is noon on Wednesday afternoon and it is Sweet Tea with Emily Rushton. No surprise, am not Emily. I'm Brenda Anderson and I was asked to be the guest host today. Emily is spending some time in Tennessee right now for a couple weeks with her dad. He's in critical care and she gave me permission to share this, so I'm not oversharing here, but she did want to make sure that Julie had full attention of a host, and right now, because of her dad and her position, she just felt like emotionally and physically she couldn't give this live 100%, and that's not her style. So she's giving dad 100% right now, and we wish her and her dad the best. And for this next 20 to 25 minutes, hopefully you enjoy hearing a little bit from me. And then our star of the show today, which is Julie Lee. We're very excited to have her here. And before we get going, I'd love to make you a drink, Julie. What would you like?
That's so nice of you to ask. Okay, so I mean, this is crazy if you happen to have this, but I was wondering, there's this blackberry lemonade sparkling water that's kind of hitting my spot these days. I think the brand it's Waterloo. I don't know if you've even heard of it, but
oh my gosh, like we're on the same vibe. I actually happen to have one. Let me go get one for you.
Okay.
And yeah.
You do?
Oh,
thank you.
You're welcome.
How'd you know that? And I got you your cocoa.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Look, and you didn't open it. You didn't even steal any.
Just for you, Julie.
My favorite kind of tea.
No, that's delicious. Well, would you take a few minutes and just share your introduction? I'm going to let you do your own intro today.
Sure. Yeah. So like you said, I'm Julie Lee. I am primarily a keynote speaker. I'm an author, podcaster, and I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. Sam is 8 and Lydia is 7, and I just adore them. So I do a lot of Pokemon and dragons, and I'm coaching my son's junior jazz team. We're just starting that up. And so, yeah, a lot of fun, lots of speaking and lots of momming. So that's my life.
Yeah, that's a good life right there. I love it.
It is a good life.
So I imagine that, so speaking like that, I think there's so many people. I mean, there's people who are terrified of being on stage and do not want to do what you do. But I know there's a lot of people who do, including myself. I love to do some public speaking. Yeah. How did you get to where you're at? Because there must be an interesting pathway there, and I'd love to hear about your journey.
Thanks. Yeah, for sure. So really, I mean, it's kind of an odd answer, but it's the truth. And that's that I had a mental breakdown when I was 21 in a work situation under some really toxic leadership. And I had a leader that stepped in and truly saved and changed the trajectory of my life and my career by the way that she chose to jump in and be the kind of leader I needed. And which was a lot of engaging and human connection when I was not at my peak performance, when I had lost my confidence under this other leader. And from there, I then still battled a lot of these insecurities and struggles with my mental health after this experience for like 5.5 to 6 years, in and out of therapy, on and off meds, trying to really recover from these things. And I felt just really inspired to start a podcast called ICU. That was in 2018. Ran that podcast for 2.5 years weekly. We had episodes come out, a lot of phenomenal guests, all about stories of people when people chose to step in and make them feel seen and how it changed and saved their life. From there, during that podcast, I was given a book contract to write my book. Oh, I usually have one right here, but I actually sold a bunch yesterday for some Christmas gifts. But my book, ICU, How Compassion and Connection Save Lives, that was published in October of 2020. And then I had a children's book come out in April of 2022, which is an ICU message for kids. So that is kind of how I started. And that transitioned into keynote speaking. You know, I had little kids while I was doing my podcast, so I could kind of do some messaging from home and still be pretty involved with them the way I wanted. And then as they've gone to school and things, now I can go speak live. And that's my primary income. That's how I put food on the table, is I'm a keynote speaker, and I love it. There's like no other job in the world that I would want. It's the best. I love it.
I love that.
So that's kind of a quick version of how I got here, but yeah, it's the best.
Well, I love the progression and how like one door opened another door. And I think that's often how it works. We don't necessarily set out to do the thing that we're doing right now when we get going, but our paths open up and we get there. Thank you for sharing that. I got chills as you were saying, like when you were younger and you had that work situation where you just needed to be seen. I love that you had someone see you. And you obviously have a lot to say about it because you wrote a book, and I'm going to have to go get it now and read it. But I know you hit on it, but what else can you share about that moment of being seen and what that meant to you? And is this someone you still have a relationship with?
That's fun. No one's actually ever asked me about if I still have a relationship with that. I have so much I could say about that. Life-changing. I mean, I called this woman shaking, crying, like out of my mind. I don't have the confidence to tie my own shoes. And luckily she'd seen me perform at work before this situation, so she knew what I was capable of. And literally the first thing she said to me was, "What happened to you out there? Like what? Like this isn't even the same person I'm talking to." And she went above and beyond. I was actually out of state from where I'd worked with her. And she was like, "Let's get you on a flight back home and let's get you in a better position." It was in an internship situation my last year of college. And I remember the first time she'd have to come do observations and watch me at work. I remember the first time she came afterwards, we sat down, she had a rubric, all these color-coded things and scores. And she flipped over the paper and she just pushed it across the desk. And then she grabbed my hand and she said, "You can look at this later. How are you?" And I just fell apart because I wasn't doing well. I was still dealing with that aftermath. I could hardly even, the first day I went back to work in this new, much more safe environment with a great leader, I didn't even make it 2 hours before I walked up to her and said, I'm sorry, I can't do this. Just being back. And I went home and I put the blanket over my head and I said, I will, like, no one's ever getting me out from underneath this blanket, right? And this leader, what did she do? She called a couple hours later. She'd heard what had happened. And I'm not picking up the phone, right? Because I'm living under this blanket forever. Finally, I grabbed my phone. I listened to the voicemail. And this is literally what she said. She said, "Julie, I heard what happened today. We're going to do this 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time if we have to. But I want you to try again tomorrow." And like I always say, when I talk, the thing with leadership is when you lead me, or sorry, excuse me, let me say that. When you see me, when you're present with me, when you're willing to get uncomfortable with me, when you see me, I want to follow you. So while I said I'd never get out from under that blanket, that next morning, what did I do? I'm bawling as I'm putting on my mascara because I'm going to look good, right? Even if I'm a mess.
That's a good combo right there.
Such a girl response. And it's like leaking down my face as I'm trying to put it on. But I was like, I went, because when you see me, I want to follow you. And like, I would follow that woman to the ends of the earth. Right. And I did. I actually never came home after that early from work. I finished. I graduated from college. I went on to have a career in that field. And I absolutely still have a relationship with her. We actually just went to lunch last week. We had lunch and she invited me and my kids for Thanksgiving. So yeah, we still have a relationship. She's very special to me. Maybe one of the most special keynotes I ever gave. It was to all the secretaries of the state of Utah, and for education secretaries. And I was talking about her, and I just had the thought, and I just said, do you know this woman? Any of you? And I said her name, and a couple hands shot up and they said, "We're her secretaries." And I just lost it on stage, because it was just like,
that's amazing.
That doesn't happen a lot. Not when I'm speaking in Maine or Delaware, California, or these other places. No one knows who this is, but to know that woman changed my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that is a connection, right there.
And that's everything. I guess I haven't really touched on what I speak about, but probably as you can imagine, I talk about how leaders can saturate their work environment with human connection, and how it makes their employees, their followers, perform at peak potential. And it always comes back to human connection. The research shows it. You look at statistics post-pandemic, people's mental health. 78% of people reported that they feel like the pandemic severely affected their mental health. 53% with depression, 52% anxiety, 32% PTSD, right? And you know all this. We all know all this. We see it daily. And so you have these leaders saying, like, is this even my business? What do I do with this? And luckily, Stanford Medical shows, their research shows, what combats anxiety, depression, what helps overall morale at work, everything. It comes back to social connection. And one more statistic I'll just throw out there, 75% of people say that the most stressful part of their job is their relationship with their boss.
Interesting. I haven't heard that one before. That's interesting. I love that message. I think it's so important. I built my business. Jipe is about jobs and helping teens and young adults find jobs. So maybe not quite the same demographic, but I've definitely been in the weeds learning about how work situations impact all around health and what matters most, and what do businesses and employers need to pay attention to. And it's absolutely mental health and making sure that leaders know how to lead. And I think that's a great way to lead, because it's authentic, and I was just talking to someone yesterday, and it's like, you can't, this sounds so like, no duh, but you can't fake authenticity. You can't fake it. You either are or you're not, and you can't fake it, and people feel it when you are. And that makes an impact.
People are pretty good. I think people are pretty good at seeing if you're BSing it. Like, we're pretty smart. We can feel it, Yeah. And we can feel it when we're doing it. And there's nothing that feels worse than that. I've been the person to do that before. I've had moments where, when I first started speaking, I'm looking at these other speakers and I'm like, okay, do it that way, do it that way, do it that way. And while there are definitely like technical training and different things you can do to help that are just across the board good for a speaker, I started having the most success, having the highest fees paid, when I really started leaning in and being like what I am, full force on stage. And it's not going to be for everybody. Yeah. I mean, I think it should be, right? No, but like, you have different niches that respond to you better, and you kind of have to own that. And whatever you are, be that,
Yep. Yeah. 100%. I love this. Like, the world needs you, your message, your voice, your authenticity. Love that.
And the way you do it, and then improve from there. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I love that. What a cool job you have. That sounds really neat.
Thanks. It is great. So you're keynote speaking right now, which is great. What is the one thing that you're like currently working on that gets you the most excited?
I mean, speaking still, like like I just like landing different gigs. Like 2 days ago, I landed a gig that I've been really excited about, and I'm getting paid, the highest fee I've ever been paid. It's just cool to see that progress, see the work pay off, all the training, the years and years, the consistency, and I think every speaker, you kind of have to start out that way, where you pay for higher level training and you get better and better, and then you can charge more and you're going to companies with more money and all those things. And because a factor of all of this, which, like, that's not always what people want to hear, but all of us are motivated by, we're all trying to make a living here. Sure. So to make a living doing something that I actually feel like really does help people, there's nothing more meaningful than that. And that's what I love about speaking, is because that human connection, I'm putting it into practice, doing it, and I feel like I'm helping. I'm actually like, this does work. This will work. Watch it work. And it's something they absolutely feel like is worth their time and their money. And that there's nothing like being able to step into your power that way and feel like what you create makes meaning and that you also can do it for a living. It's so
Yeah.
neat and it's so empowering. I also am working on, I've been asked to write an essay for a book that I'm compiling with with some other really cool headliner names, it's just a fun thing that's being put together, that I'm excited about. I also started a podcast with a friend. If anyone knows Tony Overbay, he's a licensed family therapist. There's a lot of training, him. So we've been
Is
real
he
close
from
friends.
California?
He's from California. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I
He
actually know
hosts
him.
the Virtual Couch. Oh, cool. Yeah. He hosts the
Yeah.
Virtual Couch and Waking Up to Narcissism. And he's phenomenal. Much
Yeah.
cooler than me. And he asked me to co-host with him a podcast that we do together called Love ADHD, which is very different from what I speak about. But as adults that have been diagnosed with ADHD in our adulthood, and we just have a great bantering, fun relationship. So we do that together now weekly. And I'm loving that. It's different than the other stuff I do. And it's so fun to just be able to be full-fledged ADHD on a podcast and joke and look at the research. And it's just fun. And we're getting some really cool feedback. So it's kind of like
this dark humor here.
Oh yeah, we have so much dark humor. It's so good that we just can tease each other, and it's just nice to have a friend that you can be that authentic with, and to just have no pride about things. Or when you do have pride, call out your ego and call each other out. I adore the man. He's him and his wife. They just are a great family. So that's kind of this side project that's different than what I normally do, and has been fun to start. And we'll see where we have a lot of plans and dreams with that. So we'll see where that goes. It's like you said, you never know. I feel like I always know like one step ahead and that's it. Not even ahead, just the next step. It's like, and then I get there and then the light beams on the next one. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Like there's kind of a vision for the end, but it's foggy, I
feel like when you do that and you like intentionally, you can begin to trust it.
Yes.
Because I think at first that feels scary. You're like, I don't know where this step is going to take me. But then when you like actually see how it opens doors or how it delivers for you, you can like lean into it and just trust it and just be like, I'm going. And I don't have to know 3 steps ahead. All I need to know is like what's right here. And I think that's really cool.
Well, it's all about living in the present, right? I mean, and it's we so often we hate uncertainty, like our brains hate it. But I think I've had enough experience to this point, and it sounds like maybe you'd agree, and maybe people that are listening, like, I hope you've had the same, where you have enough experience to see that when you put in the effort, right? This isn't going to happen sitting on the couch and watching Netflix. Not that I've, like I've made that choice before, right? But like when you put in effort, you start to have things fall into place, and it's not usually how you'd expect, but you start to see and look back and be like, oh, that was kind of awesome. I wouldn't have known that. Yeah. And then, you can have that confidence moving forward. I keep being consistent and putting in the effort. It's going to happen in the way that it's supposed to. And I'll know what to do in that moment. It's hard to know what to do about something you don't have context for. Right. And so, I love living one day at a time. There's no other way to live because we can't physically. And it's living in the present. It's being mindful. It's a meditative life. It's just good.
I like it.
So
I imagine that's a great way to like see, if you say, I see you, but you can like see what's in front of you. And like you said, live in the presence. Like I see what's happening now. I'm going to fully embrace it, live it.
Yes.
And not be worried about whatever I can't control in the future.
So much surrender.
Great way to live. Yeah.
It's scary, like when you're not used to it, but it's totally like scary. Once you just lean in and just surrender it. And it's a resurrendering, I think,
Yeah.
I should say I never have to resurrender. I'm perfect at this all the time, like that's how life works, right? No, you write a book about stuff, that means you do it all the time, right?
The time, right? Yeah.
People tell me things I've said. I'm like, that's pretty smart.
You're like, who said
Maybe I should do that. I'm like, are you sure I said that?
Who's quoting that?
No, it's good, right? Like we're all on this journey of just trying, and that's what makes us human. That's everything I speak about and I love. It's just bringing humanity back in the workplace. So we want to be there and we like each other,
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
I love that. I love it. And Thanks for sharing that. It sounds like we all need to find an opportunity to come hear you speak and see your message. We unfortunately don't have the time, but I'd love to see in your speeches how you weave that into work life and the work culture for leaders to embrace. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
But to
I
wrap
love
up,
it.
Emily always likes to do this rapid fire questions. So
Okay.
let's just like let go and have fun. And I don't have a list of questions prepared, so I'm totally ad-libbing it. But the one thing I saw, I was just since we just met today, I was perusing your LinkedIn, and I read that you've been practicing your winking skills for many decades, and I would show us your winking skill.
Okay, it's kind of take a picture of it as I do it. Okay, ready? Wait, hang on. Which is the side I can do? Okay, I know the one I'm better at. Neither are great. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, this is the left side. Okay.
I think I got it.
This is the right side. This is really the winner.
That's good.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this live. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, more rapid questions. Okay, there's my winking. Let's move on to something I'm better at.
Do you have any other, I hate to say useless skills, but like maybe hidden or special skills that?
Okay, I have hypermobility, so I'm crazy flexible. So I can do things like this. Like I can put my arm like all the way and I can wrap it around and touch my ear, but that grosses people out. So I'm like Gumby, so that's fun. That's another useless skill. There you go.
Okay. What's one skill or talent you wish you had?
I wish I was better at the guitar. I can play a few songs, but I wish I just like picked it up faster. Yeah.
That would be a very fun skill to have.
And like a really pretty voice. Like I'm okay. I'm not like tone deaf, but like just like, I wish I sang like Amy Lee from Evanescence. That's what I want. That's all I ask. Not a lot to ask.
That would be great.
With zero, I haven't needed any training. I just do,
So do you play the guitar a little?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So you just want to
little.
amplify your skills a little bit. Okay, cool.
Yes. A lot of it, yeah.
You told me you just got back from pickleball. So like, aren't there levels? Like what level are you?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I think I'm mediocre. I think I keep up.
Okay.
That's what I want on my tombstone. She meant well and she kept up. Like that's like I keep up in most areas of my life. Like I'm not really an expert at anything, but I keep up. Yeah.
I like it. I kind of feel like, and I was taught this by Del Majors, who does some training and coaching, and we don't have to be, it's okay to be mediocre and average at things.
Yeah.
Like, we can't be expert at everything. So let's not.
Like we can't all wink like I can. Like if you're watching, you're intimidated. You can't all wink the way I can, but one day.
I mean,
you keep at it.
I wish I could wink like you.
Don't flatter me. I don't want your charity.
Awesome. Well, we are out of time, and it's been so fun to chat with you today. If you know Emily, you love her, please send her sweet messages of love. We love you. We hope the best for you and your dad and your family at this time. And thank you, Julie, for sharing your story with us today and just having some fun. And I can't wait to hang out with you and play mediocre pickleball.
Let's do it. I'm down anytime.